Hi guys. So, Max, come here. So I want to just tell you how it's going. Good news, this little baby here is actually doing, what do you call it? Quite well. Ooh. He's doing quite well, yeah. So last week I told that he might have cancer and his heart is enlarged. Well, he got to a specialist and to make clear, our vet did an awesome job with notifying us and checking actually extra things for us without it costing us extra. They were very nice. And they suggested where we should go for the experts within hearts for dogs, hearts and lungs. And you can't really see it, but he is leaning. Anyway, so they could understand where the vet was coming from with seeing a blob that looks like cancer. Good news, it's not. And the heart looks all good. Again, the vet that looked at it had a course in it, so he knew a bit about it, but not much about it. While, good boy. While the special vets we went to, they were actually experienced professionals in this area of vets or of animals. So that was very relieving to hear. All is good. He coughs a bit because he's old, but yeah, all things are good there. So all our prayers were answered, so thank you God for that. And then I wanted to show you what I've been doing with Mr. Fluffy Pants, because I've been going a little woolly lately. That made him look a little woolly. So I want to show you how I make husky yarn. First, you need a husky. He's like, Mommy, get off me. Okay, that's my foot, Max. So what I do first is I usually have a strong blue brush. I don't actually know. Oh, wait a minute. I found it. Max, stay. Stay, stay, stay. That's not staying. Okay, that is staying. Good boy. Just thought you were getting up. So we start off with him accepting that he's being brushed right now. Good boy. And then I just brush him a bit. And you can see there's a bit of extra white chunks here. That all needs to come out. He's probably going to growl at me because he's kind of become a whiny pants since he's become a senior. This, if it really hurts him, he would probably bite. And by bite, I mean marking bite. He doesn't actually bite. Don't worry about that. There we go. So now I got this and that. So nice clicking system. There we go. And of course this is not very much, but I've got loads of it that I collect. I mean, this is a whole bag of it. That's even fallen down on the floor. Yeah, that's a chunk from the bag. And that's just collection from the last year or two. So I get these, they're called carders in Danish. And I plunk it on. And I like to give a little good extra amount. So I'm taking a bit from my bag, since Mr. Fluffy doesn't want any more right now. And I got loads of fluff to work with. So we do that. I'm just going to put you further down so you can actually see more of what I'm doing. That was almost 2 seconds. Camera adjustment. But yeah, so these have small hooks and then we put the fluff in just like this. There we go. And then we color. So you take this, and you poof, it looked messy in the start. But then you get like this layer, which is nice. And when you don't find there's too many small dots, clumps, you can be really aggressive if you want. I mean, the more you brush it, the finer it gets. I'm gonna accept this. This is gonna be my main one because, as you can see, it has most. So I'm gonna take and use it with the hooks to take a bit from the other side. This is not an easy part of it. There we go. Then it looks like this. All good. Then blow on it to get all the smaller pieces gone. There we go. And then I take this one, and you can see there's like small pieces here of those hooks. So I take this, and first I lift it at the main point. And this is the thing, because if I have too much of his fluff on, then of course, what do you call it? It will get thick and clumpy and a bit hard to control. If I have too little, it'll just all fall apart. You see, when you do this with catchering, what you're doing is all the hairs are laying like this. But hairs, they have like, I guess you could say small hands on them, kind of like how ours catch onto everything. So does the dogs. And those hairs we use as a benefit where they then, instead of being like this and not doing anything, then instead we get them to catch on each other. So you have like this short hair. I mean, this is how short his hair is. But then when I catch it, they all get together, kind of like when you felt things. And then they go from like this to like this, kind of a stuck motion, whatever you want to call it thing. And when you have a lot of them and you're gentle with it, they get stuck. And therefore, this goes from a whole lot of just small pieces of hair, which you can still see, to me removing it so that we can have wool. So I'm just going to do that. And then in under all these nails, I'll take a bit at a time. They have like small micro sections because it's rows of the nails, so I do this. I mean, look at that thickness already. That's quite thick. And it's only gonna get there. And if you want to know what Fluffy Doodle is doing, he is under the table right now, laying half asleep. Because, oh, Mummy moved into the living room. It's far away. There we go. And you gotta remember which way this was. So these were the ends. So therefore, when you take it off very gently, then remove this one. Don't need that right now. Don't need that right now. Then the two ends we roll together, kind of like when you roll clothes in the military or something. So I'm just rolling this, which equals you have this. This is the same fluff we just pulled off him, with a little extra because we needed more to make this. So this one, what I do is I roll it between my hands to really get it felted together. Again, all his hairs are only about this long, except for he has these very long, the black ones, which are more like this. So the white ones are like this, the soft coat, or the inner coat, and the outer coat is like this. These are mainly the inner coat. You can see that because it's mainly whitish. Again, this is from another day. So I take that, and you can actually do this with most dogs with somewhat long hair. Our Labrador, who had short, annoying hair, I could semi-do it, but I actually sometimes just mixed her fur with his. And then what I do is when I roll it together so it kind of filts together and becomes more of a little snaky thing, I then gently pull it out. And see, it's again, nothing's longer than this, but I filtered it together and I brushed it together so they get stuck to each other. And therefore I suddenly can have such a long piece. And we're not done yet. Then with this one, what I do is I like to roll it like this size so that it's all good and well gathered for when I want to spin it. So we do like that. Sometimes I do it on my clothes, also depends on how sticky the clothes are. Some clothes don't help. This dress is actually not too bad. So you go from this fluffiness to this, same amount, also there's a lot of volume, but this helps me control it. Then I take my spinner. Now this is a homemade spinner, a homemade hand spinner. I have, I do have normal spinners and a normal big spinner, but they're sometimes still difficult for me to use. And it's just easy. So this is just a wooden rod pallet I found that we had in spare. I just cut it to fit somewhat the size I saw that people had on YouTube. Put 4 nails in, as simple as that. And then on top, something needed to hook on to the wool. So I just made a little hook, and I can easily unscrew it again, which happened the other day when I went too many turns and that. This is the start of this whole thing. And all this I've made both the last few days, but also some time ago because I'm trying to get things done for a gift I'm going to do at some point here in the summer. Oh yeah. So what I do now is, you can see there's the fluffy part and then there's the spin part. So the spin part I want a good amount of, and I just tighten a bit more with my finger, roll it, spin it a bit more. And then I prefer to put it on nails so it fits with the hook. So like this one, that's not really good, it's not really effective. But this one catches on well compared to what the hook is. Yes, of course it's spinning because this is, and this is where you gotta be careful, because if you let it spin too much back to normal, back to just fluff, then of course it will get undone and you will have had to start again and so on. So I spin this, and then I have this little edge to take the fluff we have just made. I'm gonna bring you guys a bit close to me. And again, just spreading it so it fits a bit more with this one, because that's quite loose. So I'm going to do something like this. Take that, just combine it. If I want to, sometimes just pat it to like filter a bit more, or roll it between my fingers to just get it to grip each other. Then I hold with my left hand the two together, and then when I spin here, I make sure I can really feel it collecting both of those lines. Now you can of course also do this like with your leg or something, which I also do, kind of depends. And you don't want it too thin a spin, so you don't want too much of his fluff on it, because if it's too thick it just gets clumpy and uncomfortable for when you want to knit it or something, and too thin it gets a bit too hard. Now over time, the more you not the more you wash it, but the more you use it, and that it'll get much softer and fluffier, kind of like with all the wools and that. So here I've done the thickness I want with what I have, and it is now collected somewhat. So I carefully just pull a bit more because I don't want it too thick still. And I keep on going. There we go. And then when I get somewhat long enough, the line, that I find it's ready to continue, I take it off the hook, I spin it around, I put it back on the hook for the next move, and then voila. Oh, and then you can see here I biased and pulled too much, and that equally broke. So either I can undo this part, or rather take this out, make this softer again by unspinning just this part and then collecting it, or I can try this method again, just where I broke it I put it back together on top of each other, kind of like when you glue some paper next onto each other or something. Make sure it looks somewhat aligned, and then we do the same with the left finger, where we hold it very tight, very, very tight, and make sure that it really spins. Make sure that you don't get the rest of the wool things, man. Now, there is really going to come a clump here, but compared to what happened, I'm accepting that. And then, of course, gotta make sure that it all works well. There we go. That's, you can see it spun almost too much when it goes into like these kind of clumpy things. If I can get it to focus. These clumpy things. Then all I do is I just do like that, or I just move further with my finger, because then the spin part here pulls actually out to here, because the wool does not want to overspin itself. I mean, if you let all this go, it would unspin itself all, and we would be back to this. Yeah, so I'll just basically continue this. And again, pull a bit with my fingers. If I'm unsure, I'd spin a bit. And here, there's a bit of a clump, so I just spin that a lot. And there we go. And then there's a big tot, so I put the thing down and then hold on to it while using both hands. And so on, so on, so on. Now, when you've had enough, or rather when you think you're there, I have no idea how much I need of, what do you call it, yarn, of husky yarn. So I'm just going until I can't anymore, or until I go on holiday, and then accept that that's it and see what I can get out of that and hope it's enough. So when I'm done here, what I do is, because I'm not done, obviously, then I put it in the hook, and then I take a hair elastic and make sure the elastic is stuck to the hook and press down on the last spinning part, and then turn it here. Looks a bit weird on camera maybe. And well, that ain't going nowhere. Now, if you leave this for some weeks, it will stay semi-together because it kind of locks in after time. But if you want to be faster with it, which I will do when I'm done here, is you get something where you don't stretch it, but can hang onto. So like a laundry line or some sticks that's together where you can like put around them, kind of a thing. And then you immerse it in hot water. Some people do wash the husky fluff before they do all this, but frankly I don't have the patience for that, and it doesn't smell much. And I'm only reacting to that because I actually can't handle fluff in my nose. I have breathing difficulty with that. But yeah, so you can choose when you want to wash, and you can wash many times. But yeah, so when you want to wash, first wash with really hot water, as hot as you possibly can with your hands, and some soap, preferably dog soap. If you're wondering, well, doesn't it smell? Actually, dog fluff only smells like we do as humans with sweat and that. They don't sweat, but they through their mouth do. However, the smell comes from that. So kind of like how you, if you really have washed a dog really thoroughly with soap, then they shouldn't really smell anymore. And then, of course, as soon as they get out or they fart or something, it'll smell again, things. But so as soon as I'm done with this, I'll wash it nicely a few times and make sure it really gets rinsed. Also, this is from him, so it's going to be darker, so I'll probably wash it till it's more whitish water, see-through water, kind of like, oh, clear water is what you call it, kind of like when you rinse rice. And then after a bit, I'll wash it in cold water, because hot water, the heat helps get all the grease and yuck and dirt away with the soap and so on, so that's important so it doesn't stink. But then after that, then cold water to just cool it down, and after all, it's wool. Wool can't handle too much heat. But yeah, then after that, when I'm done with that, I'll let it dry fully, and maybe put it on one of my turn things I have from my big spinner. And then I'll start to it'll be probably knitting. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do with it. But yeah, that was a really long video, but hope that found your interest, and then you guys could learn about that. Look at my beautiful messy table and my wool layer. See, they can just lay like this and nothing really will happen because they are combined. So, and Husky laying on a towel. Huskies. It's Mummy, so I lay on it. Well, thank you for watching. Hope you guys will subscribe and have a nice time. Hopefully the weather is something over there. Here it's pouring down the whole day with a bit of thunder and lightning. So I'm mainly in bed because it's just Saturday, who cares thing. But yeah, so hope that was interesting, and comment if there is anything, and see you guys next Saturday. Bye.